welcome to a Fight the Night review. My cat's here as well. Isn't he the most adorable? Yeah, Fight the Night to review. It's between, I've got the names here so I don't fuck them up this time, Nazim, Sadykhov versus Elder. It was unfortunately at the UFC Epic Center as the main event of the prelims, and I'm going to break it down as best as I can round by round. But again, do not be surprised if I can't remember everything, because I am bad at this. So the fight starts and both men don't really bother filling each other out. I think they touch gloves near the start. I think they do show some pretty good respect with each other. But yeah, for the most part, they pretty much immediately start going at it. Nazim is the first one to really land a lot of significance. He does throw some really good strikes. He has some really good clinch work as well on occasion over Evan. But Evan is actually coming back quite strong. I would give the first half of the round to Nazim personally. I think he's just landing a lot better. There's a good moment where they exchange rights, but Nazim's is just a bit quicker and knocks down Evan briefly. Evan is able to recover quite well, even though he's clearly wobbly. Nazim is also landing a really good head kick throughout round one and going for a couple of takedowns, but it's Evan that's mostly initiating the takedowns, not really getting them. There's a great sprawl that Nazim is able to get. However, things do change past the halfway mark when Evan lands a beautiful right hand that does down Nazim temporarily. Nazim is able to get up pretty quickly though after that. Does start throwing his own strikes, but the other two just trade some really good punches. Near the end of the round there is an accidental eye poke from Evan to Nazim, but the fight's only called off for like 20 seconds. It's not really that long of a break before they start fighting again, and yeah, now they're just trading a lot of really good shit back and forth. There's a good moment where Nazim lands a lot of shit on Evan near the end, but then Evan counters it and they get back to the center of the octagon. There's just some great exchanges throughout this entire round, and I'm sorry I didn't really call a lot of it correctly. There was just some really good moments. Nazim landing the nice head kick stuff, Evan mixing up to the body quite well. Just really good shit. As for who I give round 1 to, it is very difficult because it's so goddamn even. I think I will give it slightly in favour to Nazim because his defence was a little bit better and he was providing more pressure, but when he was hit hard, he was on the back foot for a lot of that as well, and he was starting to get the worst of the exchanges, but I still give round 1 to him because I think he had just a little bit more of it, but again, it could easily go either way. It was just a really fun round. We then get to round 2, and honestly, second verse, same as the first, just really exciting exchanges between the two men, both landing some really good shit. Nazim starting to land his left through the guard of Evan a little bit more. Evan is using his head movement a bit better, mixing up to the body a lot better as well. He lands a really good spinning back kick, really good liver kicks too on occasion. He's usually utilising all of that quite well. They don't really go for many leg kicks, and one of the more significant times they both went for a leg kick was at the same time when they kicked each other's foot, and I was very, very thankful that nothing was worse from that because that could have easily led to a foot being broken. I've seen it happen before. It's gross and grim and I don't like watching it. As for what else happened in the round, I think Evan actually did get a takedown in round 2, which is very nice. He also opened a cut on the outside of Nazim's right eye, right near the sort of temple area, and Nazim kept wiping it. I did think there was an eye poke there, but there wasn't. It was it was just a bit of blood he was just wiping off, but he was completely okay. But yeah, no, there's just, again, really good exchanges between the two. It was very, very difficult to call the rounds, but again, I'm edging out slightly in favour to Evan. I think he did a little bit more. He mixed up his striking a lot better. He was landing much better shots, although he was clipped with a nasty left-right combo near the end of the round that did leave him a bit wobbled. But he was able to fight his way back to the centre of the octagon. He landed some really good body punches as well. Nazim wasn't one to sneeze at either. Again, he was countering with the head kick quite well. He was landing a lot of good Thai knees too. Just amazing stuff from both men, and again, a very fun and close round. And then we get to the third and final round, and it starts interestingly enough, and by this point I have it round 1 to Nazim, round 2 to Evan, but you know, very, very close in both rounds. Round 3 ends disappointingly early, but even then, it's still got a really good start to it with a good counter sweep leg kick thing. But they sort of, Nazim has Eric sort of against the cage. I don't remember if Nazim gets a takedown in rounds 1 or 2. It might have been either of those, but yeah, round 3, he gets Evan against the cage, lands a hell of a knee on him, and Mark Smith, who was the referee for the fight, immediately stopped it because he could see something that the audience couldn't because of the weird, like, camera work in the fight. We couldn't fully see what it was. The commentators initially thought it was a groin shot, and by the way, speaking of commentators, Laura Sanko made her debut on commentary, making her the first ever female UFC commentator. Probably the first ever female MMA commentator, I might be wrong about that, but that was just really nice, and she had some really, really good calls, and got on well with the rest of the team, which I think was Paul Felder, and a third person who I don't really remember much of. But yeah, from what we could see after the referee called off the fight, he called in the doctor, and we saw that Evan had a really fucking fucking huge cut over his right eye, and it was bleeding a lot. It wasn't bleeding down his eye, and it wasn't making it hard for him to see, but it was bleeding quite a bit. And the doctor didn't even ask Evan's opinion, he just stopped the fight. Evan was disappointed. I was a bit disappointed. I mean, to the credit of Evan, it was a really nasty cut. Sorry, to the credit of the doctor, it was a really nasty looking cut. It was a particularly big one. But I really wanted to see the rest of this fight continue, because it only ended into like 40 odd seconds into the third round, and the rest of the fight was really fucking good up until that point. But again, we do kind of have to talk about it, with Nazim getting the win by doctor stoppage. So, I actually quite liked this fight. I thought it was very even throughout the first 2 rounds, and even like the 40 seconds we got in round 3 before the fight was ended by the cut, I thought it was very even up until then too. I honestly couldn't pick a winner, you know, and not just because round 3 didn't really go that long. I think Nazim did enough in round 1 to get the win, but it was very, very close. Evan did enough in round 2 to get the win for that one. That was also very, very close, you know. I just think it could have honestly gone either way. I want to see them run this back. I want to see them also in front of a crowd, because again, it was at the UFC Apex, which does deflate things a bit for me. But still, this fight actually kind of banged. It was really, really good. I wasn't expecting that, especially on a Apex card with such a minimalistic crowd. Oh god, why can't they just get full crowds at the UFC Apex? They're the UFC. COVID is essentially dead. I hope it's fucking dead. You know, just bring in full capacity crowds to the ESPN cards and the Apex cards. Just do that, please. I know I complain about it all the time. I will stop complaining when they start doing it. It's the 30-year anniversary of the UFC. Come on, give us something like that. Anyway, yeah. No, you should absolutely go check this fight out, though. It was really fucking good. Would you agree, Hero? Yeah. Just really amazing contest between the two. I mean, they weren't really happy about the finish. I don't think Nazim was, and I know Evan wasn't. I wasn't happy about the finish, but it was a necessary thing, I guess, you know. Again, the rest of the fight up until that point was incredible, but don't just watch the first 2 rounds. You should definitely watch the entire fight, because it's really, really goddamn good. So, yeah. I don't know if it will be in my top 10, but we'll see how the rest of the year plays out, but it could be, because the fight is still really good despite the deflating finish. So what's next from me? Possibly tonight, more Shadow Warrior streaming. Maybe finishing the Let's Play of Shadow Warrior. I'm not really sure. Still got a lot of footage to get through from last night's stream that I have to edit and put up. But not much else from me this week. Or a possible vlog announcement tomorrow, maybe. I don't know. And yeah, thank you to everyone who just watched PPW vs AVW on Friday night. That was a weirdly good show for the most part, and yeah, I'll see you definitely on Thursday for Music of the Week, but possibly tomorrow for a vlog. So yeah, as always, thank you for watching, you're awesome, bye bye.